I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. Thank you for tuning in to FitPro's panel discussion, Supporting Your Caregivers and Work-Life Balance Roundtable. I'm Tatum Souza, a well-being manager at FitPros, a workplace wellness service provider. We're hired by brokers, benefits departments, ERGs, and other teams to provide well-being activities that engage and educate the workforce. After today, if your company is looking to step up your caregiving support and are unsure where to start, contact your well-being manager today or hello@FitPros. Additionally, our partners at Shift the Workplace, help create a safe space to build empathy, connect caregivers, elevate stories, and deliver actionable findings to implement a sustainable plan. Jasmine's going to drop in their website into the chat to reach out and learn how your company can do more support to support your employees. In addition to our educational parenting workshops, FitPros is now offering virtual magic shows and puppet shows for families. These lighthearted yet intentional activities educate and communicate an important message to young minds in a fun and relatable way. And speaking of puppet shows, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce my co-host, Blue the Puppet.
Hey Tatum, thanks for having me. Wow, look at all the people here today. Wow. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, how are you? Tatum, I can't really see anybody. But hey, I'm Blue the Puppet, and I'm part of Playtime with Jazz, and we do puppet shows for kids, and they're a lot of fun, and we use improv and our imagination to teach kids really important lessons like how to deal with anger, or how to share, or how to be a good friend. And we have a lot of fun, and we have kids use their imagination and make believe, and it's really cool.
Well, we're stoked to have you, Blue.
Well, thanks for having me. So what are we going to be doing here today?
Each month since March, FitPros has been hosting webinars to serve our core mission, which is to make wellness accessible. Today's topic of caregiving, which I'm going to lean on your support for, Blue, came from the concerned parents on social media sending their kids back to school. And then also there's a lot of concern around how to juggle being a parent and a teacher and a chef, which is a lot right now. So we wanted to provide some support and highlight our specialists.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I have a hard time juggling. It's really hard for me, but I try. Hey Tatum, when you use the word caregiver, what do you mean?
We tend to think that a caregiver is anyone who has a dependent or someone that they're needing to put another's needs before their own. Yeah. A lot of times that can be a parent and a kid, but more often than not, it's supporting your colleagues or your elderly parents or relatives, family, friends, chosen families. So really caregivers, anyone who's supporting someone else.
I got a lot of people taking care of me, and I really appreciate them doing that. Oh gosh, it might be really hard for them, but I'm trying my best. So when it's really hard for a caregiver, what are some things they can do to help manage their stress?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to dive into on our panel today. We have caregiving specialists who host workshops for us. And then we also do have a lot of alternative options for supporting our caregivers in a way that's kind of like inadvertently supporting them by supporting their
inadvertently.
Good word.
That's a good one. Inadvertently. Cool. So, how can a caregiver manage their health and happiness and help with that type of stuff?
Yeah, so we have a lot of puppet shows and magic shows and social engagement activities
Yeah, I
that we
like
make
magic.
available. And so we will dive further into that when we are introducing our panelists, which I will now welcome them all to turn on their cameras. And Blue, take it away in introducing everybody.
Hey, Tatum, I just want to let everyone know. Hey, everybody. Hi. Whoa. Hey. Hey. Whoa. Wow. Wow. That's cool. Hey, can I let people know that if they want to ask questions, they can do it the chat or the Q&A, and they can ask questions, and we're really happy to answer any questions, right, everybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
We like answering questions. And looks like I have some new friends here, and I wanna get to know them better. Let's see, who do we have here? Shazia, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Oh, Shazia, I am doing excellent.
Good.
Inadvertently, I am doing excellent. Shazia, I
Yes.
hear that you like art, and I like art too. And I want you to tell us all about what you do with art. Can you do that for us?
Absolutely. So a little bit about me. I have my master's degree in art therapy as well as in clinical mental health counseling. And I'm a board certified art therapist and licensed professional counselor. So what I do in these workshops, the workshops that we have, is I use like art therapy techniques to help people use the therapeutic benefits of art to help caretakers manage their stress, and also help children as well. Give some ideas that can be used for people of all different ages.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm glad you got all those degrees. I have a degree in play.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I can't wait to do art with you one day.
Well, we're going to actually be doing a little bit today too.
Yeah! Woohoo! Okay, I gotta talk to some of my other friends. Hey, Robin. Robin, are you there? Robin, are you on mute?
I think you're on mute, Robin.
Oh, Robin. Well, I know that Robin helps people with nutrition, which means food. And that's really important to eat really good. And sometimes caregivers need help learning how to make good food and good choices, not only for the people they're caring for, but also for themselves. Isn't that true, Robin? Are you there? Hello? Are you there? Are you up there? Are you down? Robin!
Okay. Sorry, not sure what happened there.
Okay, you know what? It's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding. Yes, that is true. So I am a nutritionist and I have my own business where I do one-on-one consulting and also with individuals or with families. I've also written a cookbook really geared towards families, more called Hidden Veggies. So talking about ways to get your family to eat more veggies. So yeah, so I'm here to talk about nutrition and how we can take the stress out of our nutritional lives.
I like blueberries and I like carrots.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So thank you, Robin. Can't wait to hear more from you. Cara!
Hi, I hope
Hey.
I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you totally. Awesome.
Awesome, Blue. My name is Cara Maksimow, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. And how I would like to help support caregivers is focusing on our own self-care as well as managing anxiety, especially around going back to school. I specialize in treating people with anxiety disorders and trauma-related issues. And frankly, we've been through a pretty big collective trauma as a country, as a world over the past few months. And I'm hoping to help support caregivers in their own emotional health and mental health through this process.
Yeah. And Karen, I want to tell you something. I had some anxiety about hosting this panel right now. And so thank you for your help and support. Appreciate that. Marisol!
Hello, Blue.
What's up?
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
My name's Marisol Salinas, and I am a certified master life coach and longtime educator. Here today to talk about supporting families, parents, as kids go back to school. That can be tricky. Hopefully I have some tips and tricks. And with that, I like to throw in a little bit of equity and social justice. And
Yeah.
I serve underrepresented and underserved communities. So I'm just happy to be here today.
And we're happy to have you. Tatum, this is an awesome group of people here. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This is awesome.
Well, we're also lucky to have you here, Blue. And also, we're hoping your friend Chris is somewhere nearby so we can ask him a
That
few
guy?
questions.
Really? That guy? Oh gosh, okay, let me see the, Chris, are you here? Okay, I gotta go, bye everybody, my friend Chris is coming.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Thank you, Chris, for your support. And I do want to give you the opportunity to kind of shine some light on the importance of play for both adults and children and why we have been making puppet shows available to our populations.
Sure. I mean, I think play is important because it's fun. And let's just keep that first and foremost. Having fun is important. Having fun and laughing releases endorphins, and endorphins help with pain and stress. And as we all know, we probably have a lot of that going on right now. And imaginary play for kids helps develop creativity and problem-solving skills, and it supports social and emotional skills. And not only that, it improves communication and their interactions with others. Now, for adults, imaginary play does absolutely nothing differently than it does for children. And this is why companies are adopting play in their work environments. It improves morale, increases engagement, and it hyper boosts productivity. And so that's something that any company could think and say, hey, I want my workers to be engaged and really produce and be at the top of their game when they're working for us. And so what can we do to make the work environment better? And I think play and improv and a lot of those skills can help make the work environment a lot better.
Agreed. Speaking of using play and or stress management techniques in your workday, and thank you, Jackie. We didn't forget Baylee. She is last on our introductions list, and she is going to run us through a little introduction of herself, but also we just wanted to give a quick insight into a tiny yogi meditation and the benefits of doing so with your kids, as well as how parents can do it on their own. So I'm going to turn it over to Baylee for a quick tiny meditation that I would just request you all participate in, and then we'll dive deep into questions with our awesome roster of panelists.
Thank you so much, Tatum, Chris, and Blue, wherever you are. My name is Baylee Gallen, and I am a certified yoga and meditation instructor specializing in yoga for kids and families. And I don't have any kids myself, but I have over 6 years of experience working with kids in the studio setting. And I have to say, one of the most common obstacles that I run across is my kids having a hard time expressing themselves. And for those of you that have some younger yogis at home, I'm sure that you've experienced that as well. The meditation that I'm going to guide us through today is a really common meditation, and you can probably find this on a lot of platforms. It works, it's fun, it's simple, and it's quick. And it's one of the first meditations that I learned in my training, and it's called the Feelings Shell. So there are 3 questions in this meditation that I invite you to ask your little ones. And honestly, this is a good one for adults too. You can ask these questions for yourself, because sometimes I have a hard time understanding my emotions and why I'm feeling the way that I feel. So the first question that we want to ask ourselves is, how am I feeling? How am I feeling today? Second question, why am I feeling this way? What has happened in my life to make these emotions rise? And the third question is, what can I do to make myself feel better? If you're speaking to your little ones, put this in the third person. Why are you feeling this way? And etc. So at this time, I invite you guys to sit up nice and tall. Relax your shoulders down and back. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, of course you can. Otherwise, create a soft gaze. Sometimes when I'm sitting, I like to look down towards my knees. Place your hands on your knees. And if it feels good, you can also place your hand on your belly. So when you're doing this meditation with your little ones, full belly breathing might be uncommon for them. They might not have experienced that before. So it can actually be really helpful to feel the rise and fall of their belly in the palm of their hand. And take a deep breath in through your nose and open your mouth, let it go. We'll do that a few more times. Deep breath in and deep breath out. And one more just like that. Deep, deep breath in all the way down into your belly. Feel it lift into your hand. And deep breath out. Nice job. And picture yourself standing on a beautiful sandy beach. Bring your attention to the color of the sand. Notice that it's a beautiful golden yellow color. Standing barefoot on the sand feels good against your feet. You can feel the warmth of the sand. And notice the sand maybe tickling the space in between your toes. You can even give your toes a little wiggle. Really picture yourself there. As you look off in the distance, you notice something sparkly in the sand. Maybe a bluish, gray, sparkly object poking up from the sand. Walk up towards the object and pick it up and notice that it's a big, beautiful shell. The shell with a swirly tip and a space inside. Maybe a little creature lived in there at one point in time. But now the shell is all yours. Yours to keep and hold. And it's yours to talk to. This shell is your best friend right now. Anything you tell this shell stays between you and you alone. You can share all of your secrets and feelings with this shell. And so take a moment, hold this shell in your hand, maybe place it up to your heart or place it up to your ear, and tell the shell exactly how you're feeling right now. You can use the words to describe your feelings like happy, sad, angry, upset. Take some time to really express yourself. Tell this shell, your new friend, how you're feeling right here and right now. And once you've had a chance to express yourself, start to tell the shell why you're feeling this way. What happened today or yesterday that made you feel this way? What situation came up that brought these emotions? And then take a moment to tell the shell what you can do to make yourself feel better. Maybe it's talking to someone, or maybe it's taking some time to yourself. Maybe it's coloring. Maybe you need a nap. Maybe you're hungry. Tell the shell exactly what you need right here and now in order to feel your very best today. And once you've had a chance to express yourself, figure out why you're feeling the way that you feel and what you can do to make yourself feel better, sit down in the soft sand beneath you. Let it warm your legs and your feet. Set the shell on the soft sand next to you and remind yourself that anytime you're feeling overwhelmed or confused, anytime you don't quite know how you're feeling, to come back to this beautiful beach, find your new friend, your beautiful feeling shell, and express yourself using words and describing the way that you feel. And eventually, if at any time you want to talk to a grown-up, you can tell them the exact same thing you told your wonderful new shell. Take another deep breath in and another deep breath out. One more just like that, deep breath in and a deep breath out. Flutter your eyes open, little smile on your face, maybe a good morning stretch. Maybe roll your wrists out, roll your head and neck around, notice the Rice Krispie noises in your joints, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Baylee.
guys.
I appreciate it. That was wonderful way to kick off and get us all zen, moving into some deeper dives into how to support our caregivers. We did have one question in there, and then we will be sharing the recording of the session so you can all listen to the meditation again and relearn how to share it with your own tiny yogis at home. Without further ado, I'm going to jump into some questions with our panelists. I think Baylee will be eventually signing off, but if anyone has any more questions for her, she's actually hosting a meditation for us later this afternoon. So go ahead and write them in the chat. But my first question I wanted to jump into was, Cara, with so much uncertainty, and I'll be honest, speaking with HR leads, more often than not, a lot of employees are experiencing a lot of anxiety with their kids returning to school, and they want to support. But I'm curious if you can just maybe shed a little bit of light onto, is there a one-size-fits-all solution for everybody, or is there a way you can help us kind of guide through that anxiety?
I thank you so much. I wish I could say there was one answer, but the reality is every school district is different. Every state is different. Every solution in every district, some people are staying home, some people are doing a hybrid, some people are going back full time. And it really depends. Every single family is going to have their own needs. So there's going to be the needs of the ages of your kids. So for example, I have a middle schooler and a high schooler, and they're going back hybrid, so every other day. So for me, it's a little less hectic, right? Because they're kind of independent with their schoolwork. I'm not sitting down and having to do math. They're more advanced than I am in most of their classes anyway. So it's a little easier. But if you have small children at home and you childcare issues, and you're going to an office or not going to an office or working from home, the health of the people in your house. Do you have people with autoimmune diseases, people at high risk? Some families where they've had COVID, and what does the antibodies mean? How does that work moving forward? What are the ages of the people living in the house? There's so many different factors in everyone's home that the key that I see is that you need to focus on what's in your control and what's best for your family and your situation, managing your own anxiety and your own fears about going back to school, and making a plan that's your own, the one that's most appropriate for you. And be careful about judging other people as well, because everybody has a different risk tolerance, right? Some people like roller coasters, some people like skydiving, some people like to stay firmly on the ground at all times, right? We all have a different risk tolerance, and this is no different. So being able to make sure that we're aware and kind around that is going to be helpful too.
Thank you. I do like the added note of being careful not to judge others, because I do think it's very easy, especially right now, to want to feel like you're making the right choice, and that not necessarily, it may not be a right choice for everyone. It's, again, like you said, the best choice for the family itself. Marisol, I know that you have a lot of insight into if a family is choosing to keep kids at home, and or there's a lot of different roles and hats being worn at home, having recommendations for how to balance being a teacher not by trade and a full-time employee or a chef and all of it. Can you kind of like shed some light?
Sure, yes. And in fact, I am juggling all of that myself with my own children learning remotely. So I think there's three main things that I think are really important for parents to understand to support their children as they're learning from home. One is knowing your child's learning style. There's three main types: auditory, kinesthetic, visual learners. And with each style, there are definite strengths and sometimes challenges that go along with that. But if you know your child's learning style, you're then better able to support them. And I say oftentimes a little bit more than if they were in the classroom as normal. There's some great ways to support them at home. Another key aspect is their learning space. Sometimes parents want to create a classroom in the home, and I say, if that works for you, that's awesome. But a lot of times, if you take into account your child's learning style, you have a lot of flexibility, creativity in what learning from home looks like. I've got a hammock in my backyard that I encourage my kids to use. I use it in part of my workday. That again, in the classroom, in the school building, you might not have that option. And then another key aspect I would say is self-reflection. As workers, as employees, that's a practice we probably do without often realizing, and modeling that and supporting our children in learning how to self-reflect, whether it's at the end of the day or on the weekend. That's a great practice to incorporate, and for your children, it helps them to become a stronger, better learner and learn strategies for themselves on how to make improvements. So I think those are kind of big keys to success.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I do see some questions coming in through the chat. I will jump into those. I want to make sure we're getting all the panelists sharing at the beginning, and then I'll kind of open it up for questions as well. So please do keep sending your questions in through the chat. Marisol just spoke about learning how to balance everything and focusing in on your kids' learning style to help for you as a parent. I want to lean on Robin a little bit right now to talk through kind of the nutrition side of being a caregiver, and that just an added thing that it would be great to have a little bit of information and help and support on. And then, yep, there we go. Oh, I think your audio is out again.
I think it's because, are you unmuting me?
I am not. Oh, there we go. Got her on mute. Nope. Well, I will come back to you. Oh, I think maybe we have you now.
I've never had this problem before. I'm so sorry.
No worries. No worries. I just wanted to learn about how we can maybe keep our families nutritionally healthy when there's just so many other things going on. Fast food is so easy. I thought maybe that would be some helpful information.
Yeah, definitely. And for sure, I mean, I think the biggest point you make is things that are easy. I mean, right now, life is very stressful, and especially having to do it all at home. I think whatever we can do to make it easy is definitely the best option right now. And so some ways we can sort of do that is, first of all, be kind of setting a schedule for all of your meals and snack time. So it sort of takes out that bit of chaos out of it. So we know that breakfast, lunch, and dinner are these times, snacks are these times. It can help us be more organized and really take that mindlessness, that rush, all of a sudden I'm hungry sort of out of it. It kind of helps us plan a little bit. In addition to that, really sort of being a little bit prepared and planning. So having snacks, having healthy snacks in the house, keeping fruit bowls around, having, when you get home from the grocery store, having your vegetables, you pre-chop them up and put them in nice containers in the fridge so they're front of mind. But also when it comes to snack foods, if you're not buying individual portions already, when you get home, put them in individual portions so they're easy grab and go. So it kind of again, it makes it quick and easy and takes that stress out of it. Also helps you be more mindful eater. You know how much you're getting. You're already getting your one serving. You can, grab it and take it to your desk, or have your kid take it, sit down. So making that sort of easier. And also one thing that I highly recommend, I think is great, is over the weekend, sort of like cook with your kids and make some fun snacks that you can have in the house for the week. So make some granola bars on Sunday, make some healthy muffins, some stuff that can also be really good and healthy snacks, but also encourage a lot of like family bonding. And there's a lot of other benefits, which I think we'll get to later, about like cooking with your family. So I think just doing a little bit of planning and scheduling can really help make things a little bit easier and less stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robin, on your website, you have nutritious recipes, correct?
Yeah, so I have some of my recipes on my website, but I also wrote a cookbook. It's called Hidden Veggies. So it's all really fun, sweet and savory recipes that have hidden veggies. So all healthy recipes, fun, spinach muffins that have chocolate chips in them that just look green. They don't taste like spinach, zucchini, carrot, beet bread, all kinds of like really fun, donuts, muffins, and also dinner recipes as well. They're all just healthy, fun, easy things to make with your family.
Awesome. And Jasmine did just drop both her website and Robin's cookbook into the chat. So everyone will have that. Perfect. We will be going back to kind of like the benefits of cooking with your family with Robin, but I do want to dive in and ask Shazia to just share, because this was new to me, and in meeting Shazia, this was new to me, the therapeutic benefits of art therapy. And actually, we also have the unique privilege of getting to run through a quick little art technique to balance emotion with Shazia.
Oh, okay. So a little bit about art therapy or therapeutic art. It helps people of all ages, as I mentioned before, whether you're a child, a teen, an adult, with little to no experience in art making itself. It helps you express, see, and understand yourself in a way that is beyond words. And in fact, studies have even shown that just 45 minutes of art making can actually reduce your cortisol, your stress hormone. And so, and a little bit more like drawing, even just like a stick figure or like scribbles. What it does is that it actually accesses the visual cortex of our brain where our memories are stored. And so that's why like art making and the directives that an art therapist can give and tailored towards your unique needs can actually help you find and utilize like inner resources and strengths for coping and healing that you may not even remember that you even had. So, so that's a little bit about like the benefits of like therapeutic art. I am actually going to share a little prompt with you today. And so this is going to be focused on balancing emotions. So if you're feeling like really overwhelmed and you just can't get yourself out of that feeling, this prompt is something that can help you. So if you have like any kind of scrap paper, you can go ahead and like grab that if you have it with you. So what I want you to do is like take that paper and divide it into 3 parts, kind of like a pamphlet, like this. And then what you're gonna do is on the left side of the paper, I want you to just think about like whatever your overwhelming feeling is, like what does it look like? And so for me, like I just drew a scribble. So you can take as little or as long as you want to like on that. And then after that, I want you to think about what the opposite of that feeling looks like. So if it was a feeling of being like just really overwhelmed, what would calm look like for you? And so for me, like I just drew some circles on like the opposite side of this page, because for me, circles kind of reminded me of like feeling calm and centered. And so then finally, what you're gonna do is in the very center part of the page, you're gonna create a combination of both sides. And so for me, like I am drawing some circles and I am creating some scribbles like in the center of those circles. And so what that does is it shows how conflicting emotions can actually exist in the same space. And so even if you're feeling overwhelmed, we don't have to pretend that that feeling's not there. If you're feeling scared, if you're feeling afraid, those feelings, like they're there, they're what are make us human. And so the idea is like, you know, how can those exist with, at the same time as some of like our healing and positive emotions? And how can some of those positive healing emotions actually help us like when those other emotions are in a time of need? And so that's something that you can use anytime. You know, it is really quick and easy. You can make it as like short or as long as you'd like for it to be, but it's just a tool that you can use like with on yourself as well as with your family as a reminder that even when you're feeling like really negative and overwhelmed, you are able to access some of like those healing parts of you too that can serve as a strength and a way to like move forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Shazia. That was great. I think that paired with Baylee's meditation, I'm leaving with a couple new techniques. I have a lot of younger people in my family that I think are definitely being affected right now. So definitely looking for ways to kind of communicate hard topics a little bit more. Before we have a series of more questions, but we did have one question come in that I think might best be directed to Cara, but please feel free, anybody, if you have some insight from Benola. Employers want to support and make their employees feel comfortable using FFCRA leave and or the stress or help them manage the stress of getting work done when they are taking that time off. So I'm curious if that's a question for you, Cara, or if someone else wants to jump in.
Just want to clarify the question. It's about whether taking time off, what the employer should be doing if the employee is taking time off. I just want to understand the question better.
It's two-part of helping people feel comfortable to take the time when they need it. And when they do take the time, managing the stress of feeling like they need to work.
So creating boundaries between work is what it sounds like, right? So making sure that your employees know if they have the time and they're taking it, that everything at work will happen without them, right? So a lot of times companies will say, oh, it's okay, take some time, but you know, take the day off if you need to kind of get your kids settled, use a vacation day, but then still send them 13 emails. Right? That's where we need to stop and create that boundary. If your employee is taking off and taking some time off, making sure that the communication, either encouraging them to turn off their communication sources until the next work day, or really trying to refrain from sending them anything when you know that they're not working. I don't know if that answers. It's about really creating that boundaries and letting people know that it's safe to really take that time off, because sometimes we say one thing, but the vibe or the feeling or the atmosphere makes employees feel like they have to do everything. And you want to make sure you're not sending mixed messages.
And I'll add, if I can, I think employees sometimes don't know about all the different programs or the nuances of the law and how that affects their employment and the like, or their financial situation. If they're and I don't know the specifics, but what I found empowering is giving examples of like, okay, if this is your position and if you decide to do this, this is what it would look like for you financially and the like, so that you're not going into a situation kind of like, oh, I'm scared about losing money or anything like that. It may be making 3 different cases, so it's not specific to an individual, but you share that with the organization, as well as educating leadership in the organization to be well-versed in these topics, so that CEOs or presidents or managers, senior level people encourage the well-being of their employees and encourage these programs, or to investigate further conversations with people who are experts on that, and to recognize like, hey, touching base with their employees and saying, hey, have you considered this? And there's not going to be a negative ramification if you do consider it. It's for your best well-being, and it's for the company's long-term well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I do think that kind of addresses the point too with everything that you both shared. If employees are coming back, the expectation is not for them to make up the days that they took off within their their new work schedule. It's very much so you're coming back to a manageable workload as well. Perfect. Well, Robin touched a lot on schedules, and so I'm going to kind of jump over to Marisol now. And at a certain age, kids often have sports activities, parents have hobbies, or need chill time, and not to mention work to keep food on the table. What are some tips, Marisol, that you can share with us to balance all these conflicting schedules?
Yes, busy lives, busy families, very busy schedules. I would say, as a parent or a caregiver, understand your child's schedule. If they are doing school virtually, know what that looks like for them. Have an idea of what that looks like. I'm huge on calendars and planners, so I believe all children, even little kids, can draw pictures of what they have going on. So really having an understanding of what your child has schedule-wise. Then as a parent, work, hobbies, responsibilities, all of that. If you are not already using a schedule or have scheduled out your time, creating a detailed plan of what your day, what your week looks like is really important. Then scheduling in your time to support your children in their learning if they are at home. And then really looking at family schedules. If you have, 2, 3, 5 people in your family, looking at individual schedules and building a family schedule. I recommend family calendars. You can find them really easily. We have one on our refrigerator here at home where we put the big things that are happening. Like mom has a webinar on Wednesday at this time. So that you can visually see what's happening. And, there are days where as Robin said, planning meals. Wow, Tuesday's really busy. Maybe it's a sandwich night instead of, a big barbecue that day. So really looking at what you have going on for everybody, helping everybody in the family kind of see what they individually have going on. And then I'm a huge proponent for being creativity in family scheduling. How can we build in pockets of time, even 5-10 minutes of scheduled time during your workday, playing with your kids, being silly, dancing, doing something fun for 5 or 10 minutes a couple of times a day is really great for reconnecting, re-energizing, and not feeling like you have too much going on and are really separate. It really helps to bring the family together. So that's huge on planning, schedules, calendars, and then build in a little bit of fun.
Yeah, going back to kind of what Chris had mentioned about leadership being supportive and open to their employees managing all these different schedules. I sit in on a book club, and one member, he is on the leadership team at his company, said that he blocks off on his company calendar an hour and a half that is kids time. That's time he spends with his kids. And I think that's an awesome segue into Robin maybe using that time for cooking and what would be like the benefits of doing so.
Yeah, definitely. There are so many benefits of cooking with your kids, in addition to it kind of, making stuff over the weekend that you can enjoy throughout the week. It's actually enhances a lot of kids' development. Starting off with their language development. I mean, a lot of words in cooking are words that maybe kids don't get in their everyday life. I don't think you hear a lot of kids running around saying whisk that. So I think it's, a lot of language development. It also enhances their fine motor skills, learning to knead dough and pouring things and measuring and scooping. So it really helps their fine motor skills as well. It increases their math ability. In addition to just count how many eggs you're pouring into a recipe, but it can also turn into there is this recipe calls for 1 cup. I have a half cup. How many of these do I need? So really helps it increase your math skills, and you can turn it into math games. Same with reading. having your kid read the recipe along with you, or depending on their age, having them read it to you as you're trying to make something. So really helps also some of those other like reading and math skills. It's a life skill that, we all need, it's beneficial for everyone to learn. So starting to learn it young, learning how to cook young is a great way to just grow that life skill as you get older. It also encourages healthy eating. Now, there have been a ton of studies around this about how the more kids have a hand in the cooking process, the more adventurous they'll be in eating. They take ownership over it. They're proud that they made it, so therefore they're more willing to try it. So if you're really trying to get your kids to eat more vegetables or try different foods, expand their palates, have them help you and cook with you, and that'll really help them at least be interested and intrigued to try more things. And then best of all, it's family bonding. It's spending some time with your family, especially now with everything so busy between work and school and trying to do it all. Just taking, a couple of hours on a weekend and just like doing some fun activity together really encourages family bonding. So lots of benefits of really cooking together with your kids and as a family.
Yep. Personally, I'm not a big fan of cooking unless I'm doing it with somebody else. Then it seems like an activity. So I appreciate that. And then I wanted to jump over to Chris because I know that we've been very heavily focused on parenting and techniques for supporting parents, but I know you mentioned that play is good for adults as well, and especially adults whom are experiencing a lot of stress. And so in what situations have you seen incorporating improv and or puppet shows that have a little bit more adult humor, whatever it is, could you just share with us maybe so our audience can know how to kind of really facilitate play into the workplace?
Yeah, understanding that you can be at your peak performance or levels when you're engaged in a topic. And what I love today is that we've learned a lot of different ways to get engaged, whether it's meditating or using art or cooking. These team buildings where you're working together creatively with others. That relationship with others sparks, and your own story about how you like cooking with someone else. And when you're in a workforce, you're interacting with other people, and it's just the nature of what gets done. So the more that can be done to enhance your communication skills, to enhance your trust, to enhance your willingness to be vulnerable with people. And with improv and playing, it creates a kind of a pseudo-safe reality where you realize that I can be playful and I can be cheerful and I can engage with other people because I'm safe in this childlike manner. But those skills develop over time, and that assurance that, hey, because I did this creative activity with somebody else, I'm more willing to trust that person at the corporate level or in a corporate situation because I have a trusted empirical knowledge saying, this is how this person played this game of names in a hat, or they did a trust fall with me, or I let them lead me blindfold into a room that I've never been into, and they had to navigate me through this, or had to build a Lego building without seeing what it is, and those small skills get built up over time, and there's a trust because, okay, maybe it's just a game, but if you do enough of them, you basically develop culture and you develop strong relationships that then lead into really people saying, hey, I want to work on this project with these people and I want to give it my all because it's fun, and you don't get people checked out over the long run because people know that you're investing in them and their well-being, and so they want to invest in that culture and drive that forward. So those are some examples of activities that can be done that are playful and really help the company culture.
Perfect. And that is the whole mission of FitPros, is working on ways to improve the engagement of employees, the connection of employees to one another, the purpose behind one's work. And Chris, I know you alluded to art. I don't necessarily typically think of art as falling within play, but Shazia, I know that you gave us an art technique to use when you talked earlier. But do you have anything to add about how this can be an easy activity, like Chris mentioned, to connect employees to each other, and or for them to take it home and use it with their families?
Yeah, you know, one thing that I love to do is having everybody, whether it's your family or like your coworkers or your employees, like sitting around in a circle, and then you're sharing, maybe sitting around a circle and drawing like how a feeling looks like. So for example, what does anxiety, well, maybe what does fear look like for you? Or maybe what does like love look like? Or what does hope look like? I love hope especially. And then once everybody draws that or makes a quick sketch of it, just like hold it up and let, even if you don't like share, want to verbally share like what you drew, just the act of like, you know, somebody seeing you, seeing like what you have to say that's beyond words. There's something that's connecting. Like you might see that you might have drawn like the same picture as a coworker that you maybe didn't know that you had so much anything in common with, and to be able to see that, you really get to see one another in a different lens. And then sometimes like you might want to even like talk a little bit about it, and then that creates like a little bit more vulnerability, and you know, sharing how you might feel, how you might be responding to another person's like artwork as well. Like so all of that like can, like as Chris was saying, you know, it can create like more trust ultimately, because you know, you can see that, wow, you know, this person that I've been arguing about everything with like is so much like me. You know, we feel like love, we feel sadness, like we feel afraid, we feel like uncertainty, and these feelings, these core feelings, are things that we all have in common. To be able to see one another in them can lead to a lot more trust.
Definitely. I do like having the activity side of managing stress, anxiety, fear. Cara, do you have any additional insight into how parents can help with the amount of anxiety that kids are feeling right now, with, or any dependent is feeling, with all the information they're intaking?
I think the most important thing when it comes to helping our kids manage their anxiety is to manage our own anxiety. So how we're using our own self-talk, how we're managing our own self-compassion, and what we're working on internally is going to help our kids. It's a lot easier to model behavior than to tell them something and expect them to do it. If we're freaking out and we're overwhelmed and we're not managing our emotions, then it's a lot harder for our kids to feel safe and to feel like it's going to be okay. I would say things like journaling, like Shazia said, art, play, meditation, you know, talking to someone, talking to a therapist, all those practices, especially with the meditation we did earlier, was excellent. And doing that on a daily basis to help our own anxiety levels is going to make a really big difference when it comes to our kids. And open communication, depending age appropriate, of course, but open communication about what you're feeling, asking your kids what they're feeling, and being more of a listener to our kids than talking. Really trying to understand what they're experiencing is really important.
Definitely. Marisol, do you have anything to add to what Cara just mentioned about discussing the hard topics that are happening right now?
Yeah, I would say age appropriate is always the first place to start. And when kids ask questions, answer the question they ask. Sometimes us as adults, we see the bigger, like there's more to the question. And I would say be just very clear and very direct with what specifically they're asking. You don't have to make their questions bigger than they are. I think that's really important. And I would also say sometimes parents, we feel that we have to have all of the answers, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we are taken off guard when we get questions from our children. And it's totally okay to say, wow, that's a big question. I need to think about that. Let's talk about this, and then give a specific time. Like, can we talk about this later this evening? How about after dinner? Or if you think you need more time, like, you know, that's really big. I might have to do some research on that. Let's come back around this weekend. So really being okay with not having all the answers all the time.
Awesome. Well, that is a perfect end note. Is it's okay to not have all the answers and to know what to do as a caregiver. To all caregivers listening right now, you are so appreciated. To our panelists, you are so appreciated. Shazia, Cara, Marisol, Robin, Chris, Blue, Baylee, we appreciate you all so much. We, more than anything, wanted to give a few nuggets for our audience to take home and or to share with their employee population, and you all have done that so beautifully, and we appreciate you so much. If any attendee would like to have one of our amazing Fit Pros enter into their workplace in whatever capacity right now, probably virtually, please email hello@fitpros.com to learn about the programs we offer. If there's a specific panelist that you heard something today that you think your employee population would really benefit from, please notate that in your email. With that, Jasmine is going to put up a final slide with the personal websites of all our panelists. Just a little closing remark, but again, we're here to help you and support, and we hope that this was did so. And thank you again to our panelists.